Have you ever found yourself in a situation of trying to get away from something and realizing that it just keeps on following you? I'm out here today trying to put a video together and I go way in the back. My neighbor's just cutting the grass back there. I go way in the front. He decides to go cut the grass up there. I come into the middle and he comes into the middle section as well. It's not like I live on a very small place. There's a lot of area out here. It's just very confusing that sometimes things just follow you no matter what it is that you're doing. That maybe sometimes the things that are following you because you're trying to get away from something that is not meant for you to be able to get away from. My name is Mark Anthony Dubose Jr., and I was born July 4th in 1986. I don't know what it is, but today I just have been doing a lot of thinking on something about the whole concept of fear. Fear and God believing that God is fear. And that's why some people look at the Bible and they're like, there's two different gods here. There's a loving God and then there's a fearful, terrifying God. And I'm going to say that that's just not the case at all. There's something that goes on in that book that if you're reading it as you're just reading it, thinking it's like day by day, week by week, month, decade by decade, you're getting the wrong sense of what's going on. You got to look at it as how much patience, how much compassion that God truly has before he does say what we would look at as tragedies when he kills all the people or has to take out a nation, has to do such a thing. He doesn't just do it just because overnight. He gives the people chance after chance and chance after chance. And he's so patient and so self-controlled that it doesn't just instantly happen. That he's putting centuries and thousands of years in between things before it happens. Till it gets to the point that not a single person believes him or them. Not a single person believes about who God is and appreciates and cares about him at all. That's something that he waits until it's the end of the end, when everyone just rejects. And that's why for me, I don't know, I just get this high level of amazed feeling knowing that this world is not going to come to an end as long as I'm alive on it, because I still believe. And as long as we have other people around that are still believing and other people around that are still trying to spread that message of knowing that Jesus is the way to be able to be saved on this planet. Not in a way of being saved that you need a savior to take everything from you, to do everything for you. No, that's not the concept here. And that's also what I'm going to say is putting the level of fear into God as opposed to knowing that he's loving, caring, and compassionate type God that God truly is. He's not out to destroy and not to harm. We don't need a savior to save us because the world is hurting and harm and we're hurting and harm and he's going to, if we don't do right, then he's going to come and end our lives because we're sinning and we're not acting right. That's not at all who God is in any sort of way. He gives us the 100% way of free will to be able to do what it is that we need to do out here. And that means that some terrifying and horrible things are going to come to us. And those horrible things are going to come to us because the human beings are under their own control. We are doing what we are doing. God isn't controlling every single one of our moves. So of course there's going to be some bad stuff, but at the same time, there's some really good stuff out here. And if you only focus on the bad stuff, guess what you're going to find in that Bible? I'm telling you and guaranteeing you that you're only going to find bad stuff. And if you're hurting and struggling, you're going to find how to be able to get through that in that Bible. If you're good to go and life is just the best of the best and you're awesome, you're not going to find anything in that book to, in reality, get you to be in a better place. You're going to more likely reject it. The Bible is written in such a way to make sure that we are able to figure out how to be able to get out of our hurt and have someone to help us get out of that hurt. Not just take over and just control us and tell us what to do and where to go and how to do. No, we have the freedom to be able to do whatever it is that we need to do. So the Savior isn't here to take us away. The Savior is here to make sure that we can stay here and be able to thrive and be able to survive. And it's something that I just know is very powerful, because something that's happening today is there's a lot of fear going on around here. And when a lot of fear is going on, then everyone starts to look at everything in such a fearful way, because you're living in such a way of survival. And when we're living in a way of survival, that's probably one of the worst states of mind to be in as a human being. Because when you're in survival, you can't understand what love is. You can't have any idea of anything about it because you're in a high level of fear. And when you're in survival, you're thinking, how do I stay alive? I don't care about that person over there. You can't possibly love anybody if you're surviving, because you have nothing inside. You're trying to figure out how to be able to stay alive. You're trying to figure out how to be able to make it. You're trying to figure out how to be able to just get by another day. So you're not going to care at all about what the person next to you is doing. And in reality, you're going to sabotage, destroy, burn them down, and just demolish the person next to you so that you have the chance to keep on going to be able to survive if you're living in a way of survival. And there's something going on in this world today that's getting pushed hard pushes of making sure that everybody is living in such a way of survival. And they're starting to destroy us as a people from within. It's some outside sources that are coming in that are attacking what knows to make us move and make us react. The way that you can make any dog out here, you push them too far in a corner. I watched a video from a guy that terrified me, but I just know that that's what we do. You push them too hard, you put them in a corner, and you give them no choice. They're gonna have to fight back. They're gonna have to lash out. They're gonna have to do something dangerous if they feel like something dangerous is coming to them. So if we are out here living in such a reactive way of being and living in such a survival way, we're gonna start to become pushed into a corner that we're gonna have to start doing some things that we didn't wanna do, but we have to do because we wanna survive. That's something that's inside of us. Even a person that's trying to harm themselves, you still are trying to survive. You're still doing what you do. You're still eating, you're still drinking, you're still breathing. You're still, even if you're putting your plans together, you're still surviving. And if someone were to come to you and try to end your life, you would do, I almost guarantee, anything in your power to not let that person do it to you, because for whatever reason you want to do it your own self. But you don't want that person to do it, so you would defend and fight like all can be to make sure that that person didn't destroy you. And because that's who we are as humans. We don't want to be destroyed. And for some reason today we're living in such a high level of fear. And the fear puts us in survival. And in survival, you only have 3 options. You're gonna freeze. You're just gonna quit, give up, and just say, I don't care. And that's a way of medicating yourself with drugs, with alcohol, with any sort of substance like that to just take yourself away. Consuming too much media, too much movies, too much stuff. You're just watching stuff to be funny all day long. You just quit. You're not even showing up anymore. You're not even going out anymore. You just froze. You froze. You're stuck in place. You don't want to do anything because you don't know what to do. And you're in survival. Or you're going to flee. And if you flee, you're in a way doing the same thing as the freeze. You just quit. You're running completely away. You're getting yourself completely out of it. You're not wanting to put yourself anywhere near anything. And you're giving up in a way. Because you're saying to the world, I want to be way away from here. And I'm going to tell you, the same way with this man over here cutting his grass, I can't get away from him. There's things that you just can't get away from on this planet. You can run and run and run so far. You can run away and run away so much. But as soon as you stop, you're going to realize you just ran right back into it again. You ran right back into it because you didn't deal with it to figure out what's going on. And then there's the other side of it where you're going to fight. And when you're fighting, that's where, not say it's the most dangerous, but it kind of is. Because then that's when you're willing to destroy the person next to you to get what you need. And that's what kind of goes on today in most workplaces and most everything. I don't know why, but a lot of these videos about capitalism, this and this, come to me, and it's not a sense of that's bad. It's the sense of what we do as humans, because we're living in such a survival mode that we have to destroy each other to be able to get. We have to think that we have to sabotage the person next to us to get what we get. And that's fighting. And when you're fighting, and when you're fleeing, and when you're frozen, you're not thinking about the next person next to you. Because when you're frozen, you quit. You just you're like, dude, I don't care about you, man. You do what you do. I'm here, and please just leave me alone. Please leave me out of it. When you're fleeing, you're running. You're looking at the people back there that you're supposed to be helping and saying, actually, y'all figure it out on your own, and I'm gone. I'm gone. I'm out of here. Watch when a pack of animals get scared and they got to start running. They're not looking at each other like, hey, you catching up? No, he's like, hey, actually, you stay back there so that you get destroyed, and I'm going to be the one that's going to be further along. So I'm getting out of here. And then when you're fighting, you're probably the most furthest from helping another, because then that's the point where you are literally you will break the person's leg next to you so that you can run away faster, so that whatever is chasing you can get them first. So there's no way that you're living in any sort of love to another person. You're living in an absolute level of survival, and that's never going to be able to allow you to know what love is. We have to figure out how to collectively get together to be able to get out of this level of survival and be able to learn how to be able to manage and take care of what we need to take care of to be able to help each other out. That's something for me that I don't know, but I've been working on for a very, very long time in my life. That I'm going to say I'm in a very privileged position, but not because of ease and not because of things to be able to be comfortable for me, but in reality because of a dis-ease that has came to me, that has challenged me in such ways that allow me to be able to look at life in a different way. And I'll never be able to look at life in a way of someone else that doesn't have the challenges that I have. But I'm set up in such a way to be able to make sure that I'm doing all that I can to help someone, to make sure that I can bring something to you. But I can't help someone who's living in survival. Because when I come in to try to help, everything that I say to you, you're going to look at as if I'm trying to harm you and I'm trying to destroy you. That I'm trying to get that one so that now I'm better than you. And that's not the case. But when you're in survival, that's how your mind is thinking. Your mind is thinking when that person is literally just giving you something for free, it's like, oh, what do you want from me now? What do you need me to do now? What are you trying to gain and get from me now? When someone comes in and tries to give some recommendations on like, hey, maybe you should stop this and slow this and get away from that because it's harming you. It's not allowing you to be yourself, and it's forcing you to still be in more and more survival. It's forcing you to want to quit more. It's forcing you to want to run away more. It's forcing you to want to freeze in place more. And just stop it. And you come at it and you attack that. You attack and say, oh no, this, because you're in such a survival mode that you think that that's it. And you think that the people that are trying to get you to stop doing that now they're stopping you, so that now they're hurting you, so that now they can go forward and you have to stay behind. That's something that is getting horrible today, is what I'm going to say. Is we're not out here able to help anybody anymore because of the living in survival mode. Because they're just looking at you like, oh, you're just trying to be better than me, so I'm not going to listen to what you have to say. As opposed to just knowing that there's some people out here that have no agenda, have no desire to try to damage or try to harm. They're just trying to help out and try to do whatever it is that they can do to be able to get in. But when a person just keeps getting beaten down, keeps trying to get forced to do what it is that they do, so that you can be equal to them at least, and not have any sense of like being able to get out of here than they can, because when you're in survival, you want everyone else to be in that same survival. You don't want to see the person next to you getting better. And you try to bring them into it, and you try to create their world to be that world that you're in. And when more and more people are doing that, we're only going to push further people away. And that's why for me today, I see a separation more than just a separation of what people have on their political sides. But I see the separation of the people that are willing to help, that are no longer willing to help, because their help is pointless, is meaningless. It goes nowhere, because the person doesn't actually want the help, because they think that the help is out to try to, you're manipulating me. You're trying to take something from me. You're trying to make my life worse. And it's very complicated and devastating to have to watch and see that there's separations of people that are just like, well, we'll just help our own selves then, as opposed to helping someone else to try to see, to get into a better light. It's something that I've just noticed today, that a lot of stuff that I hear just confuses me in a way of someone else is going to be able to bring the freedom to me. Someone else is going to be able to bring the happiness to me. Someone else is going to be able to bring this to me. And that's where the concept that I'm going to say is, no one's going to bring anything to you. No one's going to bring self-control to you. No one's going to bring peace to you. No one's going to bring freedom to you. No one's going to be able to bring happiness, joy, relaxation. No one's going to bring any of that to you. You can only bring that to your own self. And that's where, for me, being a follower of Jesus Christ, that's his job. That's what he's all about. That's what that spirit which is today, and that human that walked this planet is all about. That human was able to do what it is that we do. That's why some people are so powerful, because they've been through the things that you've been through. And then you just look at them and just like, you've never done this before. And it's like, I have. And that's what God did for us. He lived this life for us, so that when we're struggling, when you say, I'm hungry, he's like, I know what that feels like. When I'm lost and don't know where to go, he's like, I know what that feels like. When you're getting attacked to the point that you just think that and feel like everyone around you is trying to kill you, he's like, I know exactly what that feels like. When you're just all alone and you're like, I got no one around, nothing next to me, no one understands me. He's like, I've been through that. So God himself has created himself to come here so that he can 100% relate with everything that we're going through. Everything that we're going through. And even to the point that when people are killing him, not trying to, but were in the active motion and active ways of harming him, he said to them, I still forgive you. Like, how much of a human being are you to do something like that? That's why I'm saying that God has brought himself here so that we can relate to him, so that he could bring the peace to us, so he could bring joy to us, so that he could bring freedom to us, so he could bring self-control and compassion and kindness to us, so that he could bring all these things. He could bring joy in and just fulfill your life, because he's gone through it all. And when you're struggling and think that, oh, no one else has done this, no, Jesus has. God has. He put himself in a position to make sure that he understood exactly what it is that we're going through. And for me, that's something that is just very, very powerful, because there's not another human being out here that in reality we can relate to when it comes to our issues, because we only see them in the moment that they're in. We don't get to see them in when they were in that time that you were in. We don't get to see them when they were struggling. We didn't get to see them when they were homeless. We didn't get to see them when they were just so addicted to drugs that they were shut down and just not a part of the world. We didn't get to see them when everything was taken and stripped from them. We didn't get to see them when they were just stuck in jail and all alone and had no one to call upon to even help them to get out. We don't get to see people in that. We only see people, human beings, where they are right now. And if a person is looking like they've got everything together and has everything cared for, you're not going to be able to relate to that person. But there's a thing of understanding that someone has been through what you're going through. And for a 100% fact, Jesus has been through what you're going through. He's gone through every single thing that every single human being has ever had an issue with, as bad times and good times. He's had the life to be able to explore the whole range of everything that we're dealing with. And that's something that is absolutely incredible. It's incredible. And then he even comes to the point of saying, well, Mark, you know, Jesus, he never had no kids, he never had no wife, so he never had that. But yes, God had Jesus as his child. So how do you think that God would feel knowing that his son was taken? So you have someone to relate to in that scenario. You have someone to relate to when he had to break up with his church, his world, his creation. He lost it. He had to break up and lost his people and had to figure out how to be able to bring his people back, how to figure out how to be able to bring a better message so that the people can understand. How do you think that he felt in those scenarios when everything was just rejecting him? He's been through it all. God has understood and seen and dealt with everything that us as human beings could ever possibly deal with. And that's where you're going to find your help. That's where you're going to find your assistance. You're not going to find your assistance in grasses on this land, in animals on this land, in humans on this land, in clouds and stars and in planets and in anything. You're not going to find it in any of that. None of that has lived a life to understand what it is, lived our life. None of that has lived our life. No tree has lived our life. No dog has lived my life. No other human being has even lived my life. They may have had times in their life where they've had certain circumstances happen to them, but they never lived the same one. No one on this planet has lived my same life. And I'm going to say, I hope that no one ever does. I hope that someone would see certain things that I've done and certain things that I can say and be able to okay, I want to get away from that because that dude, that was wild. I've got some crazy stories that I never want anyone to ever have to deal with. I've got some times that happened to me that's just devastating. That some people just end their life because of things that's happened, of things that's gone on in my life. And I never, ever, ever want anyone to have to deal with any of this stuff. So that's the stories that come. But understanding that what you see right this moment may not be what's going to be able to help you. But Jesus is going to, because he's always in the moment. He's always on time. He's always there for you. He's never going to quit. He's never going to give up. He's never going to look at you as if you're just not enough. He's never going to look at you and say, you were so bad. You were so wrong. You failed so many times. I'm never bringing you back in. That's not at all who God and what God is all about. God is all about patience and willingness and waiting. He says, I'll wait. I'll wait to the last second of your life. I'm not going to take it. I'm going to wait. And if that last second of your life you say, God, can you help me? He says, yes, come on, let's go. And that may challenge some people. It may challenge a lot of people because there's some people out here that done some criminal things and some just genocide type stuff. But if in their last moments they said, God, you know, I saw what I did and I shouldn't have did that. I want to learn more about you. God's going to say, come on. I was waiting for you. I never pushed you away. I never gave up on you. I never quit. I never, ever thought it in myself of saying that person, he's not going to make it. God is rooting for us to continuously keep making it. He's rooting for us to just cry out and just ask for him. To say, I'm hurting. I'm struggling right now. I'm struggling. I don't know what to do. No one around me is able to help me. No one around me gets me. No one around me understands me. But there's one person and one creation of the Creator out here that understands you. And that's God. And that's Jesus for sure. That Jesus did and struggled with more than us as a human being could ever have to deal with. He had to deal with some things that we'll never deal with. We've never had to go through. He's the ultimate of knowing what sacrifice is all about. He sacrificed everything, all of it, more than what we could even possibly handle ourselves as human beings. He's done so much more. So you have someone to be able to relate to. You have someone to be able to call upon for when you're struggling and you're hurting and you don't know where to go. You have someone. And that's the main thing of making sure that you're leaning into that. You're desiring that, you're wanting that, you're looking for that. Because if what you've been doing hasn't been giving you the level of success that you want, if what you've been doing has been like, it was good for a little bit, but then it started to fade away. And then it's good sometimes, and then other times I feel alone and I don't know where to go. I'm telling you, that's not God. You're into something else that is not going to be able to give you the fulfillment that you need, the joy that you need, the peace that you need, the forbearance that you need, the self-control that you need. That's not going to give you that, but God will. And Jesus 100% will. Jesus will 100% give you all of what you need. And you just have to ask upon them and seek them and know that it's not going to be easy at first. Because a lot of times we're stuck in our mindset of, I need this, I got to think about this, I got to be thinking about that. And it's like, then God's like, man, I don't know how to help you, because you're begging on something else to bring it to you when I could bring it to you. You're relying on someone else to give you something that they can't give you, that they themselves are still struggling with. So how is a person that's just not perfect, is still struggling, is still working, is still trying to figure it out, going to be able to give another person something that they're looking for? We cannot rely upon each other for certain things on this planet. For some stuff, yes. But in reality, majority of the stuff, to figure out who we are and what we're all about, and what we're able to care for, what we're able to take care of, what we're able to do, what we're able to just say, I'm not going to deal with that. All of that comes from knowing who Jesus is all about. Because if you don't know who Jesus is all about, you're going to allow some very toxic, evil, manipulative things to come to you. Because you're going to latch on to what looks good and what seems good. But it may not actually be good, because it's not. Us as humans, we're not all good. And we're not all bad. We're both. We're an all around. But God is just all good. And when you latch on to something that's all good, you're going to become something more spectacular on this planet than you've ever been able to become. Because a human being is always going to fail you. They're always going to do something that's just going to damage you, because it's just who we are as people. If you're looking for someone to be able to bring that spark into your world, into your life, and thinking that you found it and it's going to be able to do that for the remainder of your life, I'm telling you, you're setting yourself up for failure. Setting yourself up for an extreme amount of failure. That person will fail you. That person is going to do something that you're not going to like. That person is going to be about something that you don't approve of. And then you're going to start not saying some things, not doing some things, not being about some things, to try to make sure that you keep that person happy, to keep that person satisfied, to keep that person around, because when it's good and you're happy. But you're going to start losing more and more of yourself. You're not going to be able to stand up for yourself, stick up for yourself, demand things that you need for yourself. You're just going to allow what I'm going to say is dangerous things to go on and happen to you. You're going to allow yourself to just keep getting further and further away from knowing who you actually truly are. And that's what I'm going to say is the number one thing that I think I've realized about myself and working and living and understanding and believing in Jesus, is knowing when something damaging is near me and around me. And when something damaging is trying to, like, even latch on to me, to try to use me as a tool to be able to get them into a better place. And it's something that I can't do. I can't do that. I can't make that happen. The only way that I can make that happen is if you are as well in the same understanding of knowing that Jesus is the one to be able to do that. So that when bad times come, that's who you rely upon to be able to get you through it. Because you can't rely upon another human, especially when you're living in survival mode. When you're in survival mode, you're not thinking anything about how to help anybody. You're thinking about how to help yourself. When you're trying to help yourself, you're going to do some very damaging things to other people to make sure that you're going to be good to go. And that's something that some of us, and I'm going to say myself, I can't be around that. I can't be in the presence of that. I can speak to from a distance, but I can't be close to that. And that's something that I read and understand and got a very good understanding of with reading my Bible multiple times, or just reading as much as I can about it, is knowing that sometimes there's some people that you can't be around because they're going to try to bring you back into doing the things that you used to do. And for a person that's trying to bring you back into doing things you used to do, they're in survival mode because they're trying to figure out how to make themselves better. And how to make yourself better is to get everyone around you to do the same stuff that they're doing. And that's going to make them feel better short term. It's going to work for a little bit. You're going to get a little like, yes, I finally got it. I finally got a little sense of relief. But then it's going to fade away. And when it fades away, then you're going to look for the next thing to do. The next thing to do of, let me get them to do this that I know that they don't like. And then it's going to give you another dose and another dose and another dose. And then you're going to get to the point that you do that so many times to a person, and that person is no longer who they are and what they were all about. And then you just give up on them. You just quit. You just throw them away because you're like, that person now isn't at all able to give me anything. There's all kinds of terms out there to talk about this, but I talk about this in a way of understanding who God is all about and what Jesus is here for, to get us out of survival mode, to get us out of the living for self mode, to get us into a loving mode, to help another person next to me mode, to help us be able to see the benefit of knowing that these other people out here are our main mission to try and help to be able to do something for. And sometimes that help may have to be from a distance. That help can't be right next to you. That help can't be intimate with you. That help needs to be all the way on the other side of the world. Because there's things on the other side of the world that affect us today that can put us in fear. And those things over there we can't control, we can't do anything with, but yet it's there. And if we get into fear, and then we get further into survival, and then we get further into fight, flight, or freeze. And we need to get out of fight, fight, or freeze. We need to get out of especially the flee and the freeze. The fight is obviously well understood. We shouldn't be fighting each other because that's where we're damaging each other probably the most in some ways. But the freeze and the flee is damaging us just silently. It's slowly taking us away. It's slowly draining us. It's slowly deteriorating us. It's slowly just allowing whatever anybody wants to do, say, or be about to just make and force upon us. Because when you're running and then you get tired and you're running and you get tired and you're constantly running and running and running, you're going to finally get to the point that you're just like, I'm just tired of running. Tired of running. What is it you want me to do? I'll just take it. I'll do it. Whatever. I don't care. And when you're so shut down that you're frozen, that all you want to do is just self-medicate to the point that you don't want to do anything all day, you're setting yourself up for the exact same thing. Just give it to me. I don't care. I don't care. Just whatever you want from me, you can take it. You can have it all. I don't need or want or care for anything. I want you to just control everything and take it all and get it all for me, get it all done for me. And this is something of the tactics of how we end up in a dictatorship. Just take it all, please. I don't want to have to think it through. I don't want to have to figure it out. Just tell me where to go. And that happens when we end up in flee and freeze. And when we're in fight, you're going to get tired as well. Because what you're fighting up against is way more powerful than you. It's got way more stamina than you. It's got way more knowledge and wisdom than you. It's got way more tricks up its sleeve than you'll ever have. And you're not going to win a fight when someone else is like that against you. When it's just you, your own self fighting. You don't have any power. But when you've got Jesus with you fighting, I'm telling you, you're going to get somewhere really, really far. And that's where I would say you need to fight for having a better understanding of knowing who Jesus and what Jesus is all about. And that's going to be able to get you out of that survival mode, to get you into a different world, a different mindset, a different existence of seeing the beauty out here, the greatness that's out here, seeing what really does truly matter, seeing what you really should focus more of your time on, seeing what really does just bring the joy in you, bring the peace to you, bring the satisfaction that you're looking for. Be able to allow you to express your skills, express your dreams, express your aspirations, express your hobbies, express everything about you. Be able to allow you to just do it more and more and more. Because I've just noticed that the more and more I pray to Jesus, the more and more that I get in tune with wanting to just keep growing what it is that I'm doing, that costs no money at all. It's just me and what it is inside of me. My desire that I'm just like, I love just staring at some animals all day, for instance. I love going for extended walks that sometimes I might have to leave a dog behind because I might work them too hard because I just want to keep going. I love being able to do such a thing. This stuff doesn't cost any money. This stuff isn't anything. I love to be able to get in the house and be able to try to figure out how to put some more music back together, get better and better with it, come up with new flowers to make, with new necklaces to make, new bracelets to make, just grooming my dogs for 4 hours, just getting all the hair off of them, just making sure they're good to go. Going in the house and just cleaning it up, getting it just spick and span at all times, everywhere, everything organized, everything figured out. None of this stuff costs any money, but it's something that Jesus shows me of what really does just matter on this planet. It's just doing things like that, doing stuff that brings joy to you, and not you going out trying to find the joy, find the peace, find the excitement. It's not out there, it's in here. Your joy is inside of you. Your peace is inside of you. And the only way that you're going to get that is, I'm telling you, the only way that I've been able to have any level of success on this planet is having a good understanding of knowing who Jesus and what Jesus is all about. And what he offered me for nothing. What he's given me for nothing. What he's given me, even though I've done some horrible things in my life, some tragic things in my life, some just disgusting things in my life. I've done some evil things in my life. And he's still waiting upon me and saying, hey man, I see you. I see you. Still giving me that chance, still giving me that option, still giving me the opportunity of like, Mark, you can still come back on over here. And even when I do still mess up, just like even recently been messing up some with what it is that I'm doing, he still says, hey man, come on through. Come on around. Come on, I'm right here. I'm waiting. I didn't just disown you because you came in strong and you stayed firm, and then something you got a little off, and I'm always here is what Jesus says to me. When I go to sleep at night and I pray, and I wake up in the morning and pray, and I eat my food and I pray, when I go for my walks and pray, when I'm working with my dogs and I pray, when I do everything that I do and I pray, that's what Jesus says to me. I got you, man. I know you've been struggling. I know you've been messing up. I know you've been hurting. I know you feel a little confused. I know you feel like you can't even hear me anymore. I know you feel like you're not sure where to go, but I'm still here, and I'm gonna always still be here, regardless of what you do, regardless of how many times you mess up, regardless of how many times you go back into some things that you said yourself you wouldn't do. And I was like, oh, man, I know. I said I wouldn't do that again, and then I did it again. He's like, I'm here, man. I'm here. But another human is not gonna do that for us. And that's what I'm gonna say is complicated, because that's where, when we're trying to look upon something that's not, say, living, where the clouds may be alive, the moon may be alive, the sun may be alive, the stars may be alive, the plants out here, they're alive, but they're not alive in a way that God is alive. They're not alive in the way that Jesus walked on this planet is alive, like us as a human being. They're not that live. They're just alive. We're conscience alive. We're thinking alive. We're able to do, create, manifest, and do amazing things alive. That's what God is alive. A tree is not alive to the sense that it's thinking and it has a conscience and it's doing what it can to make the tree next to it get better. That's what we as human beings have the power and capability to be able to do. And that's who Jesus is all about. That's the power of what I'm going to say is what God is and what he's all about on this planet. That he's not an inanimate object that's out to just destroy and hurt and devastate. It's out to bring us in. It's out to build us up. It's out to get us away from the wilderness. It's out to get us away from the fear. It's out to get us away from having a sacrifice. It's out to just get us further closer into our own selves, to understand ourselves, to trust ourselves, believe ourselves, so that I'm able to help the person next to me figure out how to be able to do that same thing. And then at the same time, I'm going to say that when you get closer and closer, Jesus is able to get you to, even when damaging things come to you, even when sticky situations come to you, it allows you to be able to like dance through it and be able to get through it without emotionally hurting you again, without dragging you down to the point of feeling like you're worthless again, the way that you used to. He's able to get you through it and past it and beyond this world, so that you can get away from that fear. You can get out of that anxiety. You can get out of that depression. You can get out of those addictions that are just destroying your life. You can get out of the negative way that you're looking at everybody. You can get out of the way of the toxic foods that you're eating. You can get all that out. You can get away from it. And that's something for me right now that I'm doing again, that I'm going to say is the most challenging thing I've done on this planet, is get the sugar out of my life. Because I want to be so clean. I want to be so aware. I want to be so conscious. And it's a struggle. It's hard. But each day I say, hey, Jesus, I need some help, man. I got this craving in me. I've got this desire in me. I've got this just burn behind me that's just like, I want a candy bar. And I say, you got it? And I'm doing the same thing with that. Make it nasty to me. Because now when I see it, it just doesn't look good. Now when I smell it, it just doesn't smell good. Now when I see that ice cream, like it looks nasty to me. It don't look right. And I appreciate who God is and what God is all about, because that's what God is able to do. He's able to get you out of the things that you used to love. You used to think that you always needed. You used to think that you needed it to be able to survive. You wouldn't make it if you didn't have it. He's able to get us out of that. He's able to get us onto a way of being that is just so caring. Because when you start to care about your body, you start to care about what you eat, how you dress, how you do everything, you're really going to start to love yourself the way that you should love yourself. Instead of just consuming just disgusting things. Consuming things that you know are just damaging you and damaging you faster. You're going to enter into a whole new realm of life and have a whole new clarity to be able to do some awesome and amazing things. And it's something for me, Mark Anthony Bogues Jr., that I hope to be able to do some amazing things for someone else out here. No longer just myself, but I hope to be able to do something, say something, be about something, to be able to make sure that I could get someone else to understand Jesus the way that I understand him, that he cares about me. He's not out to harm me. He's not out here to destroy me. He's not out here to throw lashes at me because I'm doing something wrong. He's out here to be so patient and judge me zero today for what I do. Maybe one day he's going to judge what I've done. But today I have grace. I've got faith. I've got the understanding of knowing that what I do is just a test and a challenge. And if I continue to keep doing, I'm going to say this even still, so be it. So what? Jesus is still not going to give up on you. Even if you said, I'm going to stop smoking and you're still smoking. Even when I say I'm done with candy bars and I go get one tonight. Jesus is going to look at me and say, oh, you poor, pitiful little human. Look at you. You're so wrong. Now look at you. I got to put lashes over here and check marks over here, and I'm taking your gold star away. That's not who Jesus is at all. And if someone taught you that that's how he is and what he does for you, I'm telling you, there's some way other information out here. Way other information out here. Read the Bible yourself. Stop listening to someone else read it to you. Get a good understanding of it, of yourself. Stop thinking that what someone else has to say about it is what it is for you in your life. I'm telling you, that book is an amazing book to be able to help you. It helps me the way that I see it be fit, that I need it in my life. That when I'm good to go, I read things differently. But when I'm hurting, when I'm like, I need some help with this because I want to get cleaner in my life, I find some information to be able to get me there. I find the YouTube pastor to be able to speak a message that's just directly to me. I find the playlist of him just being able to speak over and over and over. And then just recently, I found a guy that's got over 1,000 videos, an hour long a piece, that's just talking about what it is that I need help with. And I'm just going one after another to just keep consuming it. When you're looking for it, it's going to find you. And when you want some assistance, the assistance is going to find you. It's going to be hard to hear at first, but it's going to say something to you that I'm telling you, when it does get into your feelings like that, it's going to convince you for sure that you're in that survival mode. And it's trying to get you out of that. Because when you want to fight back at some things so much, that's that survival. You're fighting or you're fleeing. You're running away from it. Stop running away from it and just get in it and deal with it and understand it and just get through it. And then you're going to really be able to upgrade your life on this planet. And I just want to say thank you for a very interesting day for me today. A whole lot of thinking. A very interesting day for me yesterday. A whole lot of thinking, a whole lot of changes, and a whole lot more of understanding myself and realizing who I am even more, and realizing what it is that I'm willing to accept and what it is that I'm no longer going to do this. I'm no longer going to deal with that. I'm no longer going to accept this in my life. I'm no longer allow someone to be able to do that. And I will allow this and I will allow that. And I do want this and I do enjoy that. Just learning more about myself and finding someone to be able to speak to me, even though it's hard to hear, where he's talking about my life in a way that's like, man, I know I was messing up. But he's not speaking to me in a way of trying to damage me. He's speaking to me in a way of saying, Mark, we can go over here now. Now that you know this information, now we can go there. Someone, when I'm looking for it, the information comes to me when I'm looking for it. And as long as I'm getting away from fighting it, running away from it, or freezing in place and just trying to I can't hear you, I'm going to be able to accept it. And more I accept it is the more I accept Jesus. And the more I accept Jesus, the more I'm going to get out of fear. And the more I get out of fear, the more I'm going to love and appreciate who God is and what God is all about and what Jesus has done for me. And I'm so thankful to be able to be a person on this planet, to be able to have an understanding and have a story and have the life that I've had, a struggle, to be able to figure out how to be able to get close to Jesus. And sometimes that struggle, we got to go through even more of a struggle than we're in that struggle, to be able to just break ourselves down and say, I need help, because everything I have been doing hasn't been working. And that happened to me. And I hope that it doesn't have to go that far for you, where you could just right now say to yourself, Jesus, please help me. Because everything else I've been doing, it gives me a little bit here and a little bit there, but it never allows the joy to come into my heart. It never gives me the peace I need in my heart. It never does. And I'm going to tell you, Jesus is going to be able to do that for you. Thank you.